Welcome to our study. Today we dive into the effects of true and false information on memory. My name is Ellie Mejia.
My name is Scarlett Salazar.
And my name is Isabel Canton.
Eyewitness memory plays a critical role in the criminal justice system. However, it's well documented that memory can be influenced by various factors, including how questions are asked and the type of information presented. In this study, we examine how two primary factors, question type and information type, interact to influence eyewitness memory. Our research study investigates the impact of two question formats, simple versus complex questions, and two types of information, true versus misleading. The primary goal of this study is to understand how different question formats, whether simple or complex, affect an individual's susceptibility to misinformation, and how this in turn impacts the accuracy of their memory. Our research builds upon a body of previous studies that have explored the relationship between question format and memory accuracy. For example, Bowles and Sharman 2015 found that suggestive questions increase an individual's vulnerability to misinformation. This suggests that how a question is framed can significantly alter how an event is recalled. Likewise, Green and others 2021 demonstrated that detailed questions result in longer-lasting misinformation effects, emphasizing the long-term influence of question type on memory accuracy. Loftus and Palmer 1974 conducted landmark research, showing that the wording of a question can dramatically change how people remember the details of an event. This underscores the role of question phrasing in shaping eyewitness memory. Additionally, Sharman and Powell 2012 found that open and specific presumptive misinformation questions distort memory recall, further supporting the notion that question structure is crucial. Based on these studies, we developed the following hypotheses for our current research. Complex questions will lead to lower accuracy scores compared to simple questions. We anticipate that the increased cognitive load of complex questions may lead to confusion and reduce accuracy. Misleading information will result in lower accuracy compared to true information. Misinformation is known to distort memory, and we expect this effect to hold true in our study. Finally, we hypothesize that complex misleading questions will produce the lowest accuracy scores overall. The combination of complexity and misinformation is expected to have a compound negative impact on memory accuracy.
For our study, we had 47 undergraduate students from UMass Dartmouth who participated for extra credit in their psychology courses. Each participant watched a short movie clip from the movie Focus through Qualtrics. After watching the clip, they completed a short distractor task, which involved solving 4 basic math problems. Simple math problems consisted of what is 6 minus 11, 7 times 7 minus 1, 3 times 3, and 2 times 2. Then they answered 12 multiple choice questions about the video. The questions were shown in random order and came in 4 types: simple and true, simple and misleading, complex and true, complex and misleading. There are 3 questions for each type. To measure how much participants were influenced by misinformation, we looked at how many questions they answered correctly. Scores ranged from 0 to 12, with higher scores meaning better memory accuracy and lower susceptibility to misleading information, compared to lower scores meaning less accuracy, reflecting more errors, and higher susceptibility to misleading information. We also included a chart in our poster to show examples of the different types of questions. For example, one of our simple true questions, we asked, what item did Jess take from the first man in the plaid shirt? For simple misleading, we asked, who did Jess give the stolen hat to? For complex true, we asked, why did Jess decide to point out the man's wedding ring before taking it off his finger? And for complex misleading, we asked, after Jess showed the map because she was lost, she handed the watch to the other thief. What color was it?
Our results show that there was no main effect for question format or information type, but a significant main effect was found in the interaction of question format and information type. Within that interaction, simple misleading questions reflected the overall lowest accuracy, while simple true questions had the overall highest accuracy. Interestingly, within the complex question format, complex misleading questions had higher accuracy than complex true questions. Therefore, participants were less susceptible to information presented in the complex misleading questions compared to the simple misleading questions. Overall, our findings show that participants are more susceptible to accepting the misinformation presented to them when it's in the form of a simple misleading question, which aligns with Sharman's research that includes closed questions. They are similar to our simple questions that directly cover small yet obvious details of the film, compared to complex questions that require deeper meaning. It was uncovered that questions containing false information can distort memory, and that aligns with all of our past literature. Our study also contributes to Loftus and Palmer's 1974 study and how presenting a small change in detail can affect memory for a crime-related event.
In our study, we tested several hypotheses regarding the impact of misinformation on accuracy in answering simple and complex questions. Here are the key findings. First, we found the hypothesis for question type was not supported. However, the hypothesis for information type was only partially supported. When it comes to misinformation, we observed an interesting trend. False information led to lower accuracy for simple questions, but this effect was not observed with complex questions. Surprisingly, the hypothesis for the interaction between question type and information type was not supported either. Another key finding was that simple misleading questions showed the lowest overall accuracy rather than complex misleading questions, which we initially expected.
In our study, we identified a few limitations. First, the complexity of our misleading questions may not have been strong enough to fully produce a misinformation effect, or the wording of the simple questions may have been too vague. Also, our distractor task only included 4 math problems, which may not have created enough delay between the video and the memory test. For future research on our study, we would suggest using a longer distractor task to allow for more memory decay before recall. It would also be helpful to ask participants about any prior knowledge of the movie to rule out potential biases. And finally, instead of only using multiple choice questions, presenting simple and complex questions in open response or short answer formats may offer deeper insights into how question format influences memory accuracy.
This project was supported by Dr. Trina Kershaw and Grace Fenner. We thank them for all their help.